Welcome to an evening with Coach Dawn Staley. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and also for being patient and coming in today. We really appreciate that. My name is Andy Shane, and I am the managing editor for Expansion here at the Post and Courier. And we just showed you a brief video that shows that we are the state's largest news organization. We have nearly 100 journalists in 7 newsrooms across South Carolina, including 13 here in Columbia. And just like Dawn Staley's trophy case, we're going to be expanding here in Columbia. So, and you'll be done. Thank you. This is a market that we take very, very seriously, and we know that there's a lot of readers here, especially, obviously, Gamecock fans. And so it's something that we're going to do. And tonight, we've brought a number of our journalists here that are based in Columbia, these 13 journalists. And because this is a sports-related event, let me announce my starting lineup. So, first of all, we have Free Times managing editor David Clary. He was actually out at the desk helping get you all signed in. By the way, we all pitch in all different ways. We're not just writers and editors. We can help manage an event. But we also have projects reporter Avery Wilkes. We have one half of our Dynamite Statehouse team, Nick Reynolds. Business writer, Jessica Holdman. And business writer, Mike Fitz. Education writer, T. Michael Body. And the T stands for terrific, by the way. And, of course, it is the summer, so we have an intern, Tyler Fedor. Please stand up. Rising senior at USC, who's working for us this summer. His first week here, and he got to be the one to direct you up here. So, as I said, that's what we get to do if you get to be an intern here. Real quick, one of the great ways to keep up with all the journalism that we do at the Post and Courier is our newsletters. It's like getting the newspaper in your inbox every day. And we have newsletters for news, business news, Gamecocks Now, which David Kloniger will tell you a little bit about later, politics, food, weekend, meaning like, hey, what's going on in Columbia? What do you want to do? You can get these. They're free, and you can get a sense of what we're doing. But the biggest way you can really support us and support the award-winning journalism that we do is subscribe to our newspaper. It pays for all the work that we do. Of course, it pays for the salary. It makes it able to, for me to be able to get meals and a mortgage, stuff like that. But more importantly, it lets us provide you with really good coverage, such as our Uncovered series that Avery is a part of, where we are exposing corruption and misconduct in small towns in South Carolina where the newspapers have either gone away or are very small with small staffs. We've come in and helped them cover some of these issues. So if you're from one of these smaller towns in South Carolina, we probably have done a story in the past year and change with our Uncovered series. And if you haven't caught up with that, it's very good stuff. And as I said, has won some awards. That said, being the second most famous Philadelphian in the room tonight, you don't want to hear from me. And, of course, as a guy who's been down south for 30 years, I know I don't sound like it. That said, despite my wife's best efforts. But that said, let me go ahead and have Jean and David, your moderators for tonight, come on out. And as they come on out, I'll introduce them. Oh. And the guest of honor. Coach, thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it. Good to see you. And the real star of the show, Chair.
Who's on my boy? Come on, my boy. Come on, boy. He'll be good.
All right. Real quick, I know that round of applause was for me. Thank you. But that said, really, let me introduce the gentleman in the short pants, as we like to say, is David Kloniger. He has been covering Gamecock sports for over 2 decades. He's covered the highs, he's covered the lows, and he's even written a book on Dawn Staley's first national championship. And to the gentleman who decided to wear longer pants tonight, that's Gene Sapakoff, who is approaching his 4th decade of writing sports for the Post and Courier. He's our columnist, and he was named South Carolina Sports Writer of the Year, and I can't remember which organization it is because I just learned it this evening, but it was a national organization, so congratulations, Gene, on your award. And with that, let me turn it over to Gene and to David.
Thanks for the great intro, Andy. Thanks, Coach Staley, for joining us. We appreciate this. And thank you for everybody for coming. So let's get right into it. Dawn, the first question I have, when you get a phone call these days, do you wait a while before you answer it? Let everybody know it's 2 rings, before you can talk to the coach?
No, I answer it. I welcome all communication and conversations because more times than not, it's either going to be a congratulations or can you come speak somewhere?
Thanks.
Dawn, you guys have such a great fan base. It's also kind of a unique fan base, even by Gamecock athletic standards, and you've kind of talked about that before, but how would you describe your great fans and just the fan base as a whole?
And I mentioned this very early on as we rose up to have some success, is I really didn't visualize what the crowds looked like. It wasn't really a part of my vision of making us, a national prominent team. And it's weird because I guess I was just singularly focused on just putting a good product on the floor and allowing that success to kind of paint the picture of what that's supposed to look like. But before we were able to do that, our fans made it look great. Like they made us look like a national championship team well before we even started playing like one or just winning a national championship. They are diehard, they are loyal, they are probably borderline a little crass, but they're committed to us. But they're educated on not just us, they're educated on the entire sport of women's basketball. And that to me is pretty cool because they can argue with the best of them because they're in the know.
Dawn, you look back at this season, and obviously from last year, the goal from day one was national championship. You were able to achieve that goal. You were ranked #1 all year. But what I wanted to ask was just how tough is it when you know you're expected to be good, you know how good you can be, but when you say national championship or bust, how tough is it to go through an entire season, 37 games, and realize if we don't get that last one, this might be a disappointment?
Yeah, I mean, you come in with those expectations because you want to win, and then you see yourself as the #1 team in the country, and you continue to see yourself as the #1 team in the country, but you don't play to that number. You play to doing things the right way, practicing at a high level, playing selfless basketball, and there are championship behaviors that you have to. You have to allow that to guide you. And I mean, we knew what it was to get to a Final Four. This team experienced that last season. This particular team never experienced actually winning it. And I just thought that being in that adverse moment from 2001, where we were just that short of actually competing for a national championship, you just play for self, and you play for what you think is our potential, and what you think is how this particular team is supposed to play, because it varies. Our national championship team of 2017, it was probably a lot harder. As I reflect on this season, it was a lot harder to win that particular year than it was this year. And I thought this team just embraced the expectations. And when they did that, it was more of we're measuring ourselves against ourselves. And if we lose a basketball game, it's because we beat ourselves, and we beat ourselves twice.
And leading into that, Dawn, I mean, a lot of this team will be coming back next year. There's already at least one ranking out there. Oh, South Carolina will be preseason number one. And so, and, asking Aaliyah on the stage after the Final Four game, I said, what's the goal? And she said, it's the same goal. We're going to try to do this again. So how do you take those expectations now that you want to saying, hey, it's not about defending, it's about winning another one?
I mean, it's par for the course. We virtually bring back, our entire team minus, a couple of transfers. But the core group of our team is still here. They're coming back. But I will say this, other teams have gotten better. The transfer portal has definitely helped a lot of teams that we'll have to face and beat in order for us to win a national championship. But there's something about the chemistry. There's something about, the continuity of a team that is experienced. So I'm not surprised that they have us as the number one team. Today, it could change between now and then, but I said this and I stole this from Roy Williams when they won in 2017, and we won in 2017. We go to New York, the Wingfoot Award. They is the New York Athletic Club. They bring both staffs from the men's and the women's national championship teams together in New York for a reception and a dinner. And in 2017, Roy Williams got up to speak, and he just said, he told us, he said, I need y'all to pull out your phones, right? Yeah, pull out your phones. I see you pull out your phones. Some people have their phones out, right? Y'all got the ESPN app, right? You check the scores, right? Go to ESPN, go to check the scores, right? And then go to women's basketball, college, right? Pull it up, what you see? You see our score, right? For the next 5 months, when you open that app up and you look at that score, you're gonna see us, only us, as the winners and the national champions. So I thought that was great, so I said, oh, I'm gonna recycle that. We ever win again, I'm gonna use that. And when we went to the Wingfoot, I told Bill Self and his staff that same exact story, so it was pretty cool.
Dawn, your recruiting has just been ridiculous for quite a while. I wonder, it must just be so exciting for a family or a single parent or all the kids in the house when Dawn Staley is going to make an in-home visit to do recruiting. Could you kind of take us inside the house and tell us what is an in-home visit with Dawn Staley like?
I mean, an in-home visit is, it varies. I'm the same, but the actual visit varies. It's different people. I got quite some stories to tell when
We'd like to hear a few of them.
We Coach Warrior is sitting here. I'm gonna give you a story because it's funny. It's very funny. It's not, we didn't sign this player, so don't go digging. Our fans, they like to dig and find out the truth. This is a young lady that we signed. But we went into a home, and they're nice. They fix dinner, they put out, nice stuff. And so you started off by just, little pleasantries, and we're greeting, we're just small talking. And and the TV's on, right? The TV's just in the background, right? So usually, when we start our presentation, somebody usually turns the TV off. So, Boy and I, we got good chemistry. So I'm looking at Boy, she's looking at me, and I'm starting a presentation because nobody's made a move to the TV. So I started, and I have to talk over the TV, and I don't mind. I'm going to pivot. If we need to pivot, they like the TV on, we're gonna go for it. All right? Finally, Boyer couldn't take it. Boyer got up and turned the TV off. Boyer, true story. So that's one, that's, but we tell the truth. Like, I am or probably we are, a worst case scenario staff. Like, we give you the worst case scenario. You won't play, you won't start, depending on what type of team we have. Like, we went into our 2021 class, and we basically said we're bringing pretty much everyone back. And it's a team full of great players who have started their freshman year, started their sophomore years, right? We made it to the Final Four. We're bringing everybody back. There's a high probability that you're not going to play a whole lot. But if you deserve, you beat some people out, have at it. But I don't go into the season saying, she's not going to play, she's not going to play, she's not. No, it is, everybody gets the same information. That's what I tell them. Everybody gets the same information. What you do with that information, it's on you. Some people can pick it up fairly quickly and step right in and play. Some people can't. Some people, it takes them a little while to get the pace of what we're implementing, our style of play, our terminology, all of those things. And it takes them a while to get going. And then, we also tell them, I tell these recruits and parents this all the time, that in any decision that you make, especially a college decision, the decision is going to come down to, whatever your non-negotiables are. Like, and we don't know what they are. It could be playing time, and we won't get them. It could be proximity to home. It could be style of play. I don't know. I mean, it varies from prospect to prospect. But when you figure out what those non-negotiables are and you're unwilling to settle on them, that's when you'll find the place you need to be. And, a lot of times, we're educating families on how the recruiting thing works. We probably sound a lot different than most teams because we're going to give you the truth. We're not fluffing it. We tell them you're going to have a hard time. Like, I'm a hard coach to play for. See, I am. Because I don't lower our standards for anything. I don't. We have a standard of playing a certain way. And, if we lower our standards for one player and another, then we're competing with low standards, and that's not how we operate. Like, and sometimes that scares a lot of young people and their families, and then for us, they embrace it because it's a little bit different than what they're hearing. We've recruited against people that have said, don't go to South Carolina. You're just going to get in line. You're not going to play. Come be the face of our program, right? Like, we ask them, the face of the program. You're 17, 18 years old. Do you know what it is to be the face of a program? Like, seriously. I'm like, okay, so you're the face of the program. What about that junior, senior in the locker room? What are they going to say? I mean, you can't operate in that space being the face of the program. I mean, that's what it sounds like. It is, Coach Boyer, she'll tell you, she's the one that really talks about me. I don't really talk about myself in those meetings, and I feel a little uncomfortable talking about myself, but she does a great job at just giving them a pretty spot-on view of how I am and how we are as a coaching staff.
Donna, you need some water?
No, I'm good right
okay.
now.
Well, it's right over there. Just don't hesitate to ask if you do. Getting into recruiting, looking at the roster management, it's been kind of strange the past 2 years because of COVID. You were able to have more players than normal. Last year there were 16 young ladies on the team. This year, if my math is right, I think you're going in with 13. No, recruiting's always going, always a possibility you could add someone else. But one, are you pretty much set with the 13 that you will bring back this year? And could you talk a little bit about your 2 incoming freshmen and who you got from the transfer portal?
So what is it, May 25th?
Yes.
Yeah, as of today, it's 13. It could change.
Could change tomorrow.
It could change tomorrow. So, yeah, either way, true. But they won't be able to play. They won't be able to play because they missed the May 1st deadline of going into the transfer portal. So that was so it's safe to say that whoever leaves won't play. I'll fight that. Yeah, I would because I mean if you're gonna transfer, then do it before a time in which we can replace you. So 13. Our incoming freshman, Talasia Cooper, who is a 6-foot guard. I mean, I'm really excited about Talasia for a number of reasons. One, she can really pass the ball. She's got incredible court vision. She has gotten better and better and better and better. I know we saw her when she was a 7th grader. She came to camp, and we offered her then because we thought she was going to be pretty special. And we watched her throughout her journey to middle school and high school, and then she kept getting better. A lot of times when you offer someone that young and you watch them, and sometimes they don't grow as you want them to grow, but she made huge strides. One was she switched AAU programs, and sometimes when you get a different voice in the room, it helps. And in her case, it helped to change and to hear from another person. And I just thought she could shoot the ball, she could score it, and that's in high school. All those things could change once she gets to college until she gets acclimated. I mean, it is a huge jump. So what you see in high school may not always materialize in their freshman year. Like we had the #1 recruiting class this past season, and it took them a really long time to get acclimated. And the reason being is they came to a team where there was very little wiggle room. Like Zaya's not going anywhere, and Henny wasn't going anywhere, and Bree. It's hard. You got to do something different than them and do it at a high level, and consistently do it in order for you to steal some of those minutes. But Talasia, I would say, she's got a chance because our backcourt isn't as crowded as it was last season because we had some transfers. So she's got a shot to play. And, I know you're going to talk to me a little bit about our scheduling, but the schedule that we had last year did not afford a whole lot of our young players to play because they were just high level. We're still working through our schedule, so and as it's turning out, we probably don't have a whole lot of gimme games. So we got some, so it will be an opportunity for them to play a little bit depending on how they acclimate. And then Ashland Watkins, talented, super talented. I know you guys see her dunk all the time, but she's pretty skilled. Like, I don't think you've seen her skill set. Like, she can dribble, she's got a mid-range, she's got all of these talents that you don't see her display on a high school level or her AAU program. We're gonna get all of that out of her and more. Like, seriously, like I'm looking forward to her. She's gonna probably surprise herself with how much we're gonna just pour into her being able to do those things, because I went up to the school and saw her just work out, just a workout, not practice, not a game. It was actually a workout with her trainer, and I was like, well, why don't you do this in the games? Like, she's behind the back, between the legs, like all of these things, and I'm just like, why? I mean, you just practicing just to practice, like. That was like 2 years ago, and we've never seen it in a game, so I know it's there. So, and then high school is a little different because they're triple teaming her. They'll still do that to her this year. I mean, when she comes to this level, because nobody really plays us, man to man, So, but we're gonna get it out of her. I promise you that. You're gonna see a different Ashland Watkins.
Dawn, you talked about how hard it is to be the face of a program. I think there's no doubt that you are the face of women's college basketball, probably the face of women's basketball in America and beyond, and you're clearly one of the faces of all SEC sports. You may have seen that two of the other faces of SEC sports in coaches, you guys may have read about it. We had it in the Post and Courier, Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. Had a little bit of a flap last week over NIL. And I wonder, I think NIL is like one of the greatest things there is, and I think you do too for the athletes, but clearly there's some confusion in how the rules are, and I wonder if you think that Saban-Fisher thing isn't, that there might not, will there be more finger pointing among coaches as the shakeout of NIL rules is figured out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when the talent goes to like just one place like continuously, and then you have the NIL that's is prevalent amongst everyone. The football coaches they're different beasts. Like I don't think I could be a football coach. I don't. Because recruiting never stops. It never stops for us, but even getting a commitment, that means nothing. Like, okay, I'm gonna commit to South Carolina today, come Thursday, they're visiting somebody else. Like, I thought a commitment is, okay, we're done with recruiting. Hey, I'm committed to you. No, the coaches still coach. I mean, they still recruit. Like they didn't see the commitment. But now it's gonna be a lot of young people want, before they've actually played on the collegiate level, and that's gonna be really hard. It'll be really hard for me. I'm just gonna let you know it's gonna be really hard when a player says, I need X amount of dollars to come to South Carolina, right? Okay, and I said, again, I'm a worst case scenario. Okay, say, because we're going to be in a position come July 1st that the coaches are going to be able to broker deals for NIL deals for players, right? So that's another full-time job that we'll have to do. But I'm formulating. I am, because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm approached that way, what would I do? And I would say, okay, well, depending on the player, and depending on, if we have earmarked a sponsor for someone, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, if you don't perform, at the end of the year, if you don't perform up to what you ask for, can we get that money back? So I am going to ask that though, just to see how they react to it. But that's the kind of world we're in now, and if it goes to the highest bidder, and I mean, if it's about that, I'm going to have the conversation because we can't avoid it. I'm going to talk. We're going to talk about it, but hopefully people be a little bit more sensible about those things. Probably not, but it's something that we'll have to deal with.
Donna, you did mention some of the scheduling. I know a lot of games aren't, maybe contracted or done deals, but a couple of the standards that have been around. For one, the UConn series. Will that continue this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then some of the other ones, Duke, Maryland, some players.
Duke, no. Maryland, yes. Clemson.
Yeah.
It's always home on Stanford. We say Stanford.
Right.
We got to go back to Stanford.
That will be out there. Is that just a 2-year thing that y'all did this
Yeah.
past? Okay.
Yeah, we did. We probably won't do that one because it's just, it's too far. It's too far. No try. We tried Notre Dame, but they were full. Like, it's been really hard for us to schedule. Like, nobody nobody wants to play us. Like, no, I mean, you would think, like, we had the Dukes and the NC States. Like, I wanted to continue the home and home, just keep it. It's a bus ride to both places, and you know they're good teams. They both are good teams. Like, let's just continue, you know, with the home and home, make it easy for all of us. But they're just like, nope. Nope. They're waiting for, you know, Zaya, Aaliyah, Bria, that class to leave, and then the floodgates will open up. They said that though. I mean, people are honest when they say, "Oh, no, let's check back next year," right? But I mean, we have talked to some people that, you know, we should have a really competitive schedule. Hopefully, we got a couple of more games that we need to lock in. So I mean, we're probably far from releasing it though.
Let me just throw this one out there. Did Iowa ever cross your mind at times? Did that phone ever get picked up?
No. They need games and we need games, but we can't seem to. We can't accommodate.
Don, I think so many people, not just in this room or in this state, but nationally, really appreciate your pretty relentless fight for equity and social justice. And especially, I think people that have kids or grandkids coming up. But what are you concerned that there's been, since 2020, George Floyd and stuff, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of lip service and things that people say, but are you concerned about the follow-up to things, the commitments that people make or that organizations make, and how can we make sure that things like that are followed up on?
I mean, of course. Well, I mean, we're all concerned because it's hard. You can support something one day, and then 365 days later, you just got that one day of support. It's an every. I'm not going to say it's an everyday thing because people have jobs and other commitments, but you have to be intentional if you want to help and support those organizations, and if you really believe in it, you'll find time to support those things for change. But it's hard. It's hard because those things that we fight for, they have plenty of stamina. Like they have, to think a certain way, to be a certain way. It took a lifetime for you to be that. Like it took a lifetime for me to be, as stubborn as I am on certain things. It's gonna take a lifetime to hurdle that. And I mean, there are things that I feel like I should do more, and I try. Like I really try. Like this whole BG thing, like Brittany Griner, like I can't stop thinking about her. Like I post something every day, but I think about her much more throughout the day. Just, I go for a walk. I'm just like, she can't go for a walk. Like, and if I'm watching TV, I know she's not watching TV. I feel like her family, her friends, her wife, and all of those people, they're just consumed with it. I think about her just a few times a day. They're consumed with her not being at home and her not having a future. Like it's an unforeseen future. So it is a constant thing, but I'm intentional when I talk about VG and wanting her to get home, because I know her. I just have, and although Coach Boyer may differ, she doesn't think I'm empathetic. But I am, Boyer. I really am. I mean, it's where I grew up. I grew up in North Philly, so not a whole lot really, really cracks my shell, because I was just born in that environment, but I do have a weakness for the voiceless. I have a weakness for people who can't help themselves. So I try to try to lend my voice to that.
Dawn, a big part of last year was Aaliyah, best player in the country, won unanimous National Player of the Year, and those were goals that she had, but mostly she had come back from last offseason. She basically, committed herself to getting better as best as she could be. She got everything on her list, but she still got a year to go. So I know that she doesn't have to think about it, but what more can she do? I mean, what are her goals this year to say, I'm going to do this for my game? How much better can she be? Because she's already very, very good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's thinking about this. I am. She's got to become a better passer. Like a better passer. I'm not talking. I mean, she's good in double teams, passing it out. She's improved. Like I want her to be a better passer, a better high-low passer. Just fluidly, not here she is. No, it has to be a lot sooner. So she has to be intentional about that. I think it will just allow her skill set to continue to blossom and to protect some of the other stuff that she does so very well. If she's, she can add passing to her game. I mean, she's already virtually unstoppable. But the passing part, will benefit her on our level. But at the next level, it will certainly, help her be a better teammate, a better pro. And we have to make sure that, she grasps that part of it. We've talked to her about it. I mean, she's aware of it, but she's not aware of it and enough to practice it. So we're going to practice that, in the summer and then leading into the fall.
I do have to ask, any discussions on her statue? Aja got one with all those awards. So, and for what it's worth, Aja after the game said, yeah, she deserves one right next to mine. So.
They haven't said anything. They haven't said anything. I mean, she's got one more year, so she's got one more year to allow that seed to grow, that statue seed to grow.
Don, just a little bit lighter here. What are your favorite things to do for lunch, or what are your typical things that Dawn Staley does for lunch during your typical work week?
I'm weird, right? I mean, first of all, I'm weird. I get on a kick of something, and I'll eat it until like every day. Right now, I like Rita's gelatis. No, Warrior. I mean, so I really liked I like mango mistos from Rita's. That's the just like a little smoothie, right? So I was on the phone and we were stopping by Rita's, and I said, Warrior, get me, the mango, with the ice cream. That's the misto. Like the misto is, the ice cream is mixed up in the. But I've never gotten a gelati. Like I've never, ever. So she brings the gelati back. I'm like, Warrior, that's not what I.
It wasn't that nice.
Huh?
It wasn't that nice.
Well, anyway, I ate that.
Do we need to get Coach Boyer a microphone?
I ate that gelati, and then the next day I'm just like, boy, let's go back to Rita's. Let me get a gelati, right? So it's that. What I eat for lunch, I mean, I usually have that for lunch.
Nothing, she said.
I really don't. I mean, I like, right now, and I like, what do you call that?
Seeds.
No. Avocado toast. Soda City did it to me. Like, there's a place in Soda City that sells avocado toast, and then I tried some avocado toast at another place. I didn't like it as much. Maybe because it didn't have the honey and the strawberries. So yeah, avocado toast is what I'm on now.
Dawn, we've talked a lot about players and the team coming back. It always starts at point guard. You're a point guard, and obviously Destiny Henderson Played a terrific season. She's off to the WNBA now. You know, you got Raven coming back. She's coming off a knee injury. Then Kiara Fletcher comes in. So is it just those two that you're looking at? Will there be others? And how do you see that battle shaking out between Raven and Kiara?
As of right now, yes, but I mean, we always have LA. You know, we always spot Zaya at the point at times. But we're going to let Kiara and Raven duke it out. See whatever point guard, you know, is the most productive. Like it's totally about production. If Raven can get back healthy, she is certainly an incredible competitor. Like, she can pass it, she can shoot it, she can hit big shots, she defends. Like, she's a total package. If she can get back to where she was, you know, she's going to give Kiara a hard time. Like, really, but Kiara will use her experience. And you know, Kiara's been out for a whole year, so she's got to work her way back up. Coach Boyer is now working her out. She worked her out yesterday and then today, and then yesterday Coach Boyer's like, she's got a long way to go, right? And then today, she flipped it like the football coaches. She flipped it. She said, her mid-range game is automatic. Like no other player we had here in South Carolina, like automatic. So it's, you know, it's gonna take that much time. But Kiara was, when she went into the portal and it was during our season, we're like, we gotta go get her. I mean, we played against her in the NCAA tournament the year before. I mean, she is smart. She's actually doing an internship with the Sheriff's Department, like the Richland County Sheriff's Department. So she's loving that, you know. But she's exactly what we need. She's about her business. She's smart. She's experienced. She knows what's here. She knows, like, we need an experienced point guard that can run the show. Like, she is, you know. We're good. If both of them can get to where they were 2 years ago, we're good. We're good.
I think everybody in this room, including Champ, knows that besides being a good coach, Dawn was a great player at Virginia, 3-time Olympian, and really, really good in the WNBA. And you even played in the WNBA while you were still coaching at Temple. Dawn, WNBA ratings are like through the roof for the draft, for last year's playoffs, for this year's regular season. Why do you think there's that sudden positive spike in WNBA TV ratings?
I think we are more popular as a sport, like from bottom to top. Like, we're just more popular, and it's not, you know, and it's actually not the decision makers that are putting us on TV more. It's the people that they're demanding more. They're demanding to see more women's basketball. And I know ESPN, I get on their nerves a great deal. And I'm grateful for what they've done. Like, they've given us an opportunity to be on TV, to get exposure. But at the same time, they've hindered our growth. Like, they've only let us go to here, and then we keep smacking up against that ceiling when it's time. Like, it's time. We are a sport. Like, we really are a sport that if you invest in, you know, we can be $1 billion sport. We really can. Like, the demand is there. It's just you have to spend a little bit more money, and you need competition. Like, I got better as a player because I played against better people. So I got better. Like, if we just go into television deals with ESPN, that's all we'll have. But if somebody comes along and says, hey, I got $500 million for you instead of the $349 million that ESPN is offering us, you know, every 5 years, that no other network no other network can compete with it because we're just going to stay here because of the relationship. So, I mean, ESPN still can be that network, but let's give them some competition and watch the rise of our sport continue to grow.
Dawn, let's talk about trophies and banners. I don't know how many of you know, but obviously Dawn's office is right across the street. And in one big glass case right out there in the lobby is the Crystal basketball from the 2017 title. Got another one now. So have those trophy cases been discussed, how they're going to present those, and then over at the Colonial for where they're going to put the new national championship trophy?
I just like to know who thought to make a single trophy case. Like who was the small thinker? Like really, who was the small? Was it me? Did I do that? I just, but I think we've outgrown it. Obviously, we do have a donor. Okay. Yeah, we have a donor that is going to pay for the new trophy case in both places. So I hope they make room for more.
Well, Dawn, I think David's going to introduce a video now. Is that right, Chris?
Like I said, beforehand, thanks for everyone for showing up. And also, I know that many of you are subscribers to the Gamecocks Now newsletter. Thank you so much for subscribing to that. For those of you that aren't, it's a newsletter that I write, on average 3 to 4 times per week. You just sign up by email. There's a free 2-week trial going on right now. But that's where I can put in a lot of stuff about USC athletics that I can't put in the paper. Stuff that I know what's going on, some fun things. There'll be some updates after tonight. So we have a short video to play for that.
Wait, David, where's your second book? Like,
well, no one's really approached me for it. It is an idea I've been kicking around. Time we could sit down and maybe talk about it. I suddenly have an open summer, so. There's a breaking news story in South Carolina athletics. I'm the one you want to follow to find out what's going on with that information. I can guarantee you'll have all details, all sides of the story, just as fast as I can get them, and I can get them pretty fast. I do thank all of you who are signed up for it. And again, there's links on all of our pages at postandcourier.com to subscribe to Gamecocks Now if you'd like to. And feel free to email me, Kloniger at postandcourier.com with any other questions you have. But that is something that we started, I guess it's going on a full year now, right? And it's been pretty good feedback. So I hope for those of you that did read it, hope you enjoyed the dispatches for women's basketball throughout the season and everything else. And we're going to go to an audience Q&A now. So if you've got some questions, throw up your hands and Coach will answer them. Right over here.
Hello, Coach Stanley. My question is, how can you be...
Leave it alone, y'all. Come on.
How can you be an elite basketball player? That's my question.
Elite. Okay. I got a question for you. Are you a pretty good student?
Yes, ma'am.
You are? Would you consider yourself elite, an elite student?
Yes.
Okay. So you do something to be an elite student, right? You study, right? You turn in all your assignments on time. Well, we got to get the definition of elite then. Like, we got. So you have to work at it. Like, you really have to work at your craft. That is, and you got to prioritize. Like, if you want to be elite at something, it's going to be you have to sacrifice something. Something. I don't know what that is. It could be your social life. It could be social media. It could be friends. But you got to think about it a lot. And then you got to act on certain things. You got to get in the gym, and you got to work at it. And you got to watch. I'm a real, I like to encourage our players to watch themselves, like really be critical of themselves. You don't have to watch it with a coach at first. If you can watch it and see where you need to grow and improve and see it and actually you're able to implement it, most players can't, because most players only want to see the good stuff. Like they all really, like even, elite players really only want to see, what they've done. But the separator is you got to self-critique, and then you got to act on it. I would say we have a few elite players on our team. Obviously, Aaliyah Boston is pretty elite. Elite players continue, you can see their growth even though they're elite. Like Aaliyah came in, and she had a pretty good freshman year, by probably everyone's standards, but not by hers. So she came back and brought, a mid-range. She brought back a three-point shot. And then after her sophomore year, she said something else is missing. Like, I'm tired at the end of the season. So she's like, I'm gonna work on my conditioning. So I'm gonna eat better. I'm gonna drop these pounds, and then I'm gonna be dominant. And it's a progression. It is pouring into yourself. Like, you gotta keep pouring into yourself, and you gotta get people around you that will pour into you, that know what you're trying to do, know what you have planned for yourself, and only deal with those people that's gonna pour into you in that way, in a positive way. And all the other people that say, hey, don't work out today, or don't do your homework today, come. That's the aha moment to know that, hey, I have to separate. It doesn't mean that you can't be friends, but I gotta get this in, because everybody doesn't want to be elite in life. Some people are really good at just wanting to settle and just be comfortable. Elite players don't mind being uncomfortable, growing in, whatever field that they want to be elite in. Good question.
Sam, what we got next?
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us this evening for this hour. Coach Tara Vanderveer, I know, is a friend and a colleague, coached you in the Olympics. She retired this year. Have you talked to her since?
She
retired?
No,
She did
not
not?
Tar.
She did not retire?
Vivian Stringer.
Thank you, sorry.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. I had the wrong question, so I'm going to sit down. But thank you again. It's been thrilling.
No problem. I got it, y'all. I know y'all knew Tara did not retire, so y'all didn't hop on her like y'all hop on people on social media. Thank y'all for not doing that.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm fantastic. So I have a question.
Okay.
1, you grew up North Philly. 2, you went to Virginia from there?
I did.
Crazy. 3, you play Olympics, and then you go NBA. So you've traveled and lived in different places. Now you're in Columbia, South Carolina. The transition must be absolutely crazy, because that is not North Philly, it's not Virginia. So how is it for the transition and being around these fabulous, wonderful South Carolina people? And this is my boy Justin right here. He has these flashy little shoes that you remember from, yeah.
Coach Staley, your outfit is always on point, and I feel your vibes. These are my lucky women Gamecock basketball game day shoes. I wear them just for you, and I'm known in the concourse for the shoes. So maybe you can sign them or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. But anyway, I just wanted to ask that question, because transitioning from different places, and now as we get older, and now you're here, it's just, we love you being here.
Right.
Dynasty, now.
Okay. As I did grow up in North Philly. I love, the foundation that that North Philly provided for me as I was growing up. And it prepared me to live anywhere, to live anywhere. And then, I do go to Virginia, and that was a stretch for me. Honestly, that was a real stretch for me. But I wanted to win a national championship. And I wanted to go to a school that hadn't won a national championship. So I wanted to be a part of that. And that did not take place, but we left a legacy of great basketball. And then, you go all around the world. I would say that I am from Philly, but I didn't do the things of Philly. Philly's got a nightlife. I'm not a nightlife person. I've never been. I was singularly focused on basketball. That's probably not the way to be. You gotta balance some stuff. I was not balanced as a young person, and very little moved me. Going to parties and clubs and stuff like that. That wasn't really something that I enjoyed doing. I was more like an introvert. I enjoy watching TV. I enjoy being at home. So South Carolina is the perfect place to do it.
One final one right over here.
Oh, wow, I'm found one. Hi, Coach Staley. I am in awe of what you've done at USC, which is our former alma mater. But my father-in-law is from Virginia. Okay. And he has a niece who's in middle school, Cassie Towns, who loves you and wanted to be here, but she had to be at school. The question is, one, how do we find out more about your basketball camp for kids? Mm-hmm. Because there are so many kids who look up to you. And second, being a kid with all of the social media and everything else and playing sports as a girl, what is the one advice that you would give young girls who have so many things about you are very confident. What is the one thing that you could give about young girls in sports at this time, if you had to give your younger self some advice?
Yep. Is Freddie here? Freddie? You're welcome. Freddie's not here? Our office is right across the street, directly across the street. You can stop by anytime, ask for, this is his name, Freddie Reddy. Okay, yes. Freddie Reddy, he's our camp director, and he fields all types of questions. I'm really not the person to ask about camp, because I barely know the dates, I just show up. And then, I think generally, when people lack confidence, it's probably a preparedness. You gotta prepare. You gotta step out and be uncomfortable, because a lack of confidence is just being uncomfortable, and you're uncomfortable for a reason. Sometimes I lack confidence when I have to give a speech and I really didn't do the best job of preparing. So I lack confidence in that. So I try not to put myself in a position where if I have to give a speech, that I don't go over it a million times so I can get the timing and all of that right. So it's preparing. It's preparing. And it's also the people around you. You gotta pour into young people who lack confidence, as relatives, as parents, as you gotta pour into them. And I'm gonna give you a story, right? I got this from Caesar Milan. You know him, the dog whisperer? Yeah, I met him last week.
Wow.
Right?
That's cool.
It's really cool, because I started following him on Twitter and social media too, because I said, there were a lot of celebrities at this place. But when I saw Caesar, I was like, I gotta go meet him. So I missed him. When I first walked in, I saw him. I was like, I'm not gonna go over to him right now. He's engaged in the conversation. And then he disappeared. I was just like, where did Caesar go? I gotta find him. So he ended up walking past, and I flagged him down, And I just, I said, I enjoy your work. He's like, what do you like about it? I said, I like how you command things. I like how, you are the pack leader of all the animals. Like, he got different animals. He just doesn't have dogs. So I said, I need some advice on my dog. So he said, so I said, well, he gets pretty frightened with fireworks and thunder, right? Thunder and lightning. Just really, really afraid. And so he said, well, when that's happening, what does he do? I said, he trembles, he shakes. And he said, well, what do you do? So he said, I said, well, I hold him, I coddle him, I hold him. He was like, well, that's not something you should do. And he said he has to face that. He said, so he gave me some exercises. He said, you have a treadmill? I said, yes. And he was like, slowly introduce him on the treadmill while it's moving, right? Slowly, right? And then as he gets more and more confident at performing on the treadmill, slowly introduce the sound of thunder and fireworks, low level, okay? And then when he starts getting more confident with it, move it up to medium and then move it up to, loud. And you'll find that he'll become more confident in those moments. So that's me pouring into Champ, so he won't be afraid of that. Because surely, every time it's almost 4th of July, I'm gonna have to use the CBD oil, because I have done that. So I don't want to use that, so I have to train him in that way. So he can gain more confidence, and I can gain more confidence knowing that the 4th of July is coming, and I want him to just stand up to the fireworks.
We're going to have to put the program to a close, but I did have one more before you, Dawn, since you brought it up. I believe the talk was that since the second title's in hand, is Champ going to get a brother or sister pretty soon?
Champ? You want a brother or sister? No. I know I said that, and I didn't want to lie, but Champ said he cannot handle another sibling. So no, I can't do it. I can't handle it. I probably could handle it, but I go out of town a lot. So to ask someone to watch 2 dogs, that's a bit much.
Well, we do appreciate y'all joining us for us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Okay.
Got some extra wall space if you want to hang this up.
Oh, wow.
We just want to present
That's
you
my
to-
favorite picture. That's my favorite picture. Thank you.
You got some extra wall space.
I do.
No worries.
Thank you. And I also have to thank the Post and Courier for covering our team. Like, you all treat us like a sport. You've done that for a very, 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 very long time. Like a long time. And I know there's so many programs out there that are pretty good that don't get the coverage that we get. So I appreciate it. So I hope you continue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hope you continue. So thank you. Yep. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.